There are 40,000 volumes in the Mountain Quest Research Library, each one reflecting the passion of its author, and many of them with multiple authors. The average human brain contains 10 billion neuron cells, and each one of those cells is connected to 10,000 other neurons. That's a lot of thought. And at the core of all of that thought is knowledge, the capacity to take effective action, or as the philosophers said, justified true belief. And much of it is tacit. I often wish that I could take my hand and run it along the spines of these books and instantly know what was within them. Perhaps AI will help us do that. But here we are today, where the mountains meet the library. Hello. I'm here at the Mountain Quest Institute Library in the middle of the Allegheny Mountains of West Virginia. And I've been asked to share a little bit about my early connections to the field. Well, that was quite a while ago in the early 90s when my husband and partner, David Bennet, a neuroscientist and a nuclear physicist, discovered the work of Carl Wigg. We were both taken. It was amazing, the possibilities and potential of this field. And we became so excited that it wasn't long before I had the opportunity to become the Deputy CIO for Enterprise Integration for the U.S. Department of Navy and move into the role of Chief Knowledge Officer. These were the early days of KM, days that were accented by the amazing thought of its thought leaders. In our new book, Reblooming the Knowledge Movement, the Democratization of Organizations, we talk a little bit about those early thought leaders and some of the things that we began to discover about the field. I mean, these were exciting people like John Seeley Brown, Surinder Batra, Javier Carrillo, Rob Cross, Tom Davenport, Steve Denning, Nancy Dixon, Leif Edmondson, Dorothy Leonard, Edna Posher, Larry Prusak, Dave Snowden, Hubert St. Orange, Etienne Wenger, Carl Wigg, and so many more. Milton D'Souza coming up in the younger generation, and Charles Dua. On and on, so many wonderful leaders that had amazing thoughts in different directions and possibilities emerging. It wasn't long before we began to develop in the Department of Navy a new theory of knowledge. This book, The Course of Knowledge, reflects much of that learning, and it is open source and available to you for download. Perhaps I can share at least one model and talk just a moment on that. Here we go. Can we zoom up a little bit on that? So this one is built on the work of Ryle and Polanyi and others, and talks about knowledge informing and knowledge proceeding. Our mind is an associative patterner. Everything that comes into our mind brain is associated with everything we've already learned, and that's a lot of learning over the years. We are complex adaptive systems, and we cannot live in stasis. We are either always learning or declining. The choice is ours. But that's a lot of connections that are being made, and most of those are tacit in nature. But in particularly, the knowledge proceeding is unique. The way that we put things together in order to effectively act. So you can see how important tacit knowledge is. We also began to realize in the beginning, of course, we wanted to make everything explicit. Then we began to realize that that was impossible. We are far too complex. And knowledge is context sensitive and situation dependent, ever changing. So It's going to be different from one situation to the next. So how do we engage tacit knowledge? First of all, embedding. We developed relationship network management, which is a process for us to manage the interactions we have with others, the conversations, the dialogues, recognizing that the conversations we have today are going to drive our decisions of tomorrow. So we do have the ability to manage our relationships. Also, sharing tacit to tacit. You don't need to make it explicit. Imitation, mentoring, and this wonderful thing we discovered from neuroscience, mirror neurons, where the activity of the brain can be identical to the activity underway in another person's brain, doing and taking an action. Also, surfacing tacit knowledge, inducing resonance as well, but in the surfacing, it has to do with putting ourselves in a situation that will trigger those thoughts. Because we're an associative patterner, if we have the right incoming information, it triggers these larger thoughts, our ability to advance. It's an exciting world, and there's so much for us to learn, so much to learn from ourselves. There's so much tacit knowledge in each of us. It's going to take all of us working together to make this world a better place. That's going to begin happening in the event November 13 and 14 in Davos on TKM. And I hope to see you there. We'll talk again.